In a phone call last weekend with members of the Progressive Caucus from the House of Representatives, President Biden teased a little bit about what he would like to do with the United States Supreme Court. But he says he's not ready to fully announce the plan just yet because he needs their help. Because Biden, as President of the United States, has no real power to do anything to the United States Supreme Court. But if he can get Congress on board to enact the reforms that he is going to propose in the coming days or weeks or whatever it is, then we have a real shot at reining in the lawlessness that has become rampant on that Supreme Court. Two of the biggest proposals that we do know about, of course, would be term limits for the United States Supreme Court, which would require a constitutional amendment, and the second would be an enforceable code of ethics for the judges on the Supreme Court. Because right now, every other court in the country, including federally appointed judges, they have codes of ethics. You violate your ethics, you can be removed from the bench. The U.S. Supreme Court, not a peep, not a word, not a single code that they have to abide by. They can break the law openly, flagrantly, and the only thing they would have to worry about is impeachment, which we all know can't happen because we don't have the numbers to do it for either party. So they are effectively lawless by definition. Biden wants to change that, and I think this is a great proposal. Again, it's also something that may not even be able to happen. In order to amend the Constitution, you would have to have 2/3 votes in Congress or at a convention called for by 2/3 of the states, followed by ratification by 3/4 of the state legislatures. So you got to get Congress, you got to get state legislatures, or you got to get the states, and you got to get the state legislatures. That is insanely difficult, especially considering the fact that putting term limits on the Supreme Court or an enforceable code of ethics is going to result in far more Supreme Court vacancies. And whichever political party's holding the majority on the court isn't going to like that because they want to keep their majority. But these are reforms that are needed. These are common sense reforms. Like, that's what I love about it. These are common sense things that, by the way, a majority of people in the country want. Term limits right now is my number one priority, which, by the way, I think should extend to every single public office here in the United States. Nobody should be able to just run for office every year for 50 years. No, hell no. Stop that. Put an end to it legislatively and constitutionally. The Supreme Court and all of the other federal courts, when those people get appointed, they're there for the rest of their lives, unless they get impeached and removed. And that never happens. It has happened, but it's not going to happen in modern times, trust me. So we need those people to get out. 20 years maybe? Sure, that's a long-ass time. Give them 20 years and then they're gone. Make it 15, make it 10 if you want. I don't care. But nobody should have a job where they can't ever get fired, right? That's the point. Because it creates complacency, it breeds corruption, and that's what we're dealing with now on the Supreme Court. So whatever happens with President Biden, that remains to be seen as of this recording, but this is a good plan, and let's hope the Democrats in Congress can get behind it. America's Lawyer has launched its own YouTube channel. Now, this channel, of course, is still in its early phases of development, but you can help grow it by subscribing. Just go to youtube.com/theamericaslawyer, and you'll get all of the great content from Mike Papantonio and myself that we produce every single week.